too early, but that's okay. My gym workout was phenomenal. Before I went home, I decided to stop over at my mother's house. I haven't seen my mother in 2 months. I know she's going to be very surprised to see me. I can't wait. What the? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The first thing I noticed was this person's skin. What is going on? Uncomplicated, untreated skin? Who is this guy? I had to take a step back, but then I realized it was my brother. But look at his skin. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? I had to take a closer look and figure out what was going on. Best believe I crept up on him. Peep this. I'm still looking at his skin, trying to figure out how did we get here. I could do nothing but shake my head. He could definitely use my help. I had to get to the bottom of this. He definitely needed some game about his skin. I'm just staring at it, like looking at it. Come on, bro. I knew what to do. I had to reach in my bag and get that Tiege Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Bro, this is why I'm excited to have Tiege Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. They have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and the grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My brother was so excited. My favorite part about Tiege Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Shout out to Tiege Hanley. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tiege Hanley for the best possible price, but they'll also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Feel the Tiege. Let the Tiege force be with you. It's go time. What's going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef-ING Lapeef Sunday. We're going to introduce the crew. We got Precious. We got Hink in the basement. We got Jay, a story to tell. Sugar Curl Salon. Luis, me, myself on Lapeef-ING. Welcome to Lapeef Sunday on Lapeef Network. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing good. Thank you.
Hey, Jay, I know one thing. I know black is beautiful. I do know that. I know that.
What make you say that, Hank? I'm just curious.
No reason, man. Just because we all black up here and we all beautiful. Okay. Shout out to Precious with a shirt.
I didn't even know that.
I said black and beautiful. I'm sorry. Black and beautiful. I'm sorry.
Right, there you go. There you go, Hank. Hank likes to start with Precious.
Thank you, Hank. Thank you.
Right, power to the people. Power to the people.
Jay, is that a Knicks hat? Oh, okay.
They won yesterday. They won yesterday. You feeling yourself, Jay?
What'd you say?
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Am I low?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's low.
All right. Yeah, man. We pulled it out yesterday, man.
Yeah, I see, man. I was hoping the Bulls pulled it out, but You know how that go. You know how that goes. It's a whole different story.
Yeah,
What's going on, Louise?
Louder now.
Yeah.
What's going on, family? How we doing today? How we feeling?
Man, I can't complain,
At
man.
least.
Place, man. I see you over there, Hollywood, with the shades again, huh?
I was gonna say you flipped him up. He switched it up on us a little bit, didn't he?
That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, I was the
You got
same.
the aviators on. The aviators.
Yeah.
Last time, I mean, the reason why I had him last time was because of my eye situation. But
I
since
bet.
then, I was like, damn, these kind of look too good.
Here you go.
He said it's lit.
Talking about you had an ass situation. I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
No, I def did.
He got his Don Johnson's on.
Yeah, you do. Good girl, what's going on? You know, I mean, feel free to join the conversation anytime. I know.
I'm doing pretty good this morning. It's a beautiful day. The
Okay.
kids are gone.
Kids are gone. It's always a beautiful day when the kids are gone.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
It sounds so bad. I mean, I notice that when people say that, man, if I could do it all over again, but I would have my kids. But if I could do it all over again, they always have to
Right.
put it in that frame to make it seem like they are happy about their kids. I'm sure they are, but I'm pretty sure we'll all make some changes if we can go back in the past. Well, let's go ahead and get the show started. But before we do, shout out to the sponsor, Teej Hanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. Make sure you guys click that link. Get 30% off and a free gift. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the Green Gang that's in the chat right now. Matt G, Joe Lee, Stephanie, Renee. Hopefully I said that correctly. Mr. BX87. What else we got in that? The AP, the accountability partner. Dale Matthews. Shout out to all the Green Gang. If you want to become part of the Green Gang, click that link that's pinned to the top of the chat. With that being said, we might have a few more people that might be dropping in periodically throughout the show. So if they come in, let's make sure we welcome them as well. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get the show started. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And feel free to go ahead and share this stream to someone, anybody, friend, family. Send it to your grandfather. Your grandfather might want to watch this one today. This might be something that might hit home for him. Or maybe it might be your grandmother, maybe a great-great-grandmother, maybe a great-great-great-grandmother. That might be pushing it right there, right? Okay. Hopefully somebody will speak highly of me like that and say, I remember my great-great-great Lapeef. The late great-great-great.
That's a lot of greats.
I know. I'm getting a little bit.
Yeah, that's a lot of greats. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, it's all legendary, right?
Yep.
Most certainly.
Lineage.
Okay. Who do we lose? We lost somebody. Oh, there he is, Jay.
Jay.
Oh, that's because you got that Knicks hat on, Jay. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you laughing. Nah.
Not that they dropped you and now they muted you, Jay. What's going on?
So we start talking about them Knicks. Well, while he's getting that together, how's everybody doing in the chat? Chike Auto LLC is also a Green member. Where you guys watching from? I'm just curious. Periodically, I like to see what the audience is that's watching these shows. So where are you calling? Where you watching from?
Yeah, sometimes I'm surprised. They'll be like Japan. I'm like, Japan? How y'all doing in Japan?
YouTube is everywhere, man. I think
You know they're up late if they're in Japan. Not them tuning in at 4 o'clock in the morning, for Lapeef-ING Sunday. And it's Monday over there already.
See, Nigeria.
We got ATL. We got Memphis. We got Jersey. Another ATL. Let's see, we got NC by the way of VA, DMV, Cali. We got Philly. What else we got in there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right.
I got a super chat from Big and 11 says $2. Is that Luis or Prince? I don't know if I got the Prince correlation with that one. I don't know. Let me get a few drinks in me and I might be able to see the resemblance, but I can't see it right now. You guys see Prince?
Not at all.
No, not Prince.
We got Northern Cali. We got Jamaica. Another Jersey. Jersey is definitely in the house today, man.
Jersey's heavy.
I probably
Jersey.
got Chicago. I couldn't skip that one. Chi-Town in the building. What part of Chicago? Alexander, what part of Chicago? I'll probably highlight a couple more as they come in. Glad to join us back, Jay. I'm glad you're back, man. Thought we lost you for a second, man. You know, with that win that Knicks had, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, I know. We got another Chi-Town in there. And maybe Morris Day. I don't know what they mean by that.
That's a better one. That's a better one.
Are you talking about
Prince's Nemesis?
From the time.
Mm-hmm.
Morris Day in the time, remember them?
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get it off of Luis and get back to the show. Again, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can get this show started. Our first topic this afternoon for some folks and maybe morning for others. It is, we're going to react to this video, which is a wife says she doesn't want to contribute financially to purchase of a home. A wife says she doesn't want to contribute financially to purchase of a home. I feel like it's an error somewhere. I'll double check it, but it's not the actual video. I had to take the video out for copyright purposes. They want to get flagged, but I do have the audio along with the picture, so let's go ahead and listen to it.
We, continue this marriage. You have to get us a house. You have to buy us a house.
I will have to buy it?
Mm-hmm. So I could say my husband bought me a house.
So you don't want to have no parts in helping me buy the house?
I mean, I'll be on the deed.
How does that work?
Oh, it works every day in marriages.
You been married before?
In other people's marriages I know about.
Oh.
Their husband bought them a house, a car. I mean, especially if I'm pushing out kids. Those are some good push gifts.
We can, Shaquille, let's save to work towards buying a house together. It was just a, Shaquille, no, you gonna buy me a house.
Yeah.
I'm just stuck on the buying you a house.
Us a house.
You said you. You said buy my wife a house.
Yeah. This is who I am. Keep thinking. Keep thinking. Let's think at home.
All right, there you go. A wife says she doesn't want to contribute financially to the purchase of a home. You guys heard that video, man. What do you guys thoughts about it? I mean, me personally, I just didn't like the way she said it. I think she could have been a little bit careful how she put it out there, because it almost looked like as though she wants to purchase a home, not for the family, but almost of the how it looks to others, how it appears to be when she's around her friends and peers and say, my husband bought me a house instead of buying a home for you. But that's just my thoughts. Let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm gonna go ahead and go to Jay's story to tell first. Reaction.
Yeah, I think it's the key words, man. Her key words were, my husband bought me a house, like not bought us a house. Then she said, well, you could put me on the deed. You know what I mean? Like, you want all the perks of saying my husband bought me a home, but you don't want none of the responsibility. You know what I mean? So you gotta listen to the words closely, man, because she's telling you something without coming out and saying it. So that might be some trouble on the back end, you know what I mean, if he don't correct that up front. But he has to check that now, because it's gonna be a lot more of he bought me this, he bought me that, he bought me that. And then when you buy something for somebody instead of we bought, on that back end, she's gonna use that against him.
It seems like she's hardwired that way, though. How can a man? She seems like a woman that if you told her, no, I'm not going to buy you this house, I'm not going to, I mean, you could see how frigid he was with her. He was very apprehensive. I mean, he was stuck. I would have been stuck too. Like, what do you mean by you a house? He was appalled, and he was trying to gather himself. But she seems like the woman that if you tell her no, then it's going to be a problem. So I don't even think that you can necessarily fix women like that. I think that they just need to live in the delusion land and, fend for themselves, because you can't tell a man what to do with his money. I don't believe you can. I don't believe you could tell a man what to do. You see what a man freely gives and see how he needs you to, incorporate and contribute to that. So I don't know if she can be fixed, Jay, but I mean, I'm glad you're keeping hope alive.
Yeah,
But no,
real quick, if you check it up front, then you'll find out whether we gonna move forward or whether this is gonna end right here. Because if she's talking like that now, and that's a big process for some people. So, I'm not sure if he has a house already or what that situation, but that's a big process for people. So it shouldn't be taken lightly. So if she's acting this way about this purchase, like I could only imagine the other stuff.
All right, go ahead, Luis. I know you're trying to get in there.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but in the beginning, anybody notice how she said, in order to sustain this marriage, you need to buy me a house. So I'm curious, are they married or are they in the courting, talking stage to lead up to marriage, right? Because if they're already married, it seems like they didn't have this conversation prior to getting married. And if he's courting her towards marriage, then I hope he's taking close notes about what he's about to prepare himself to sign up for. I agree with Jay. I really do echo the sentiment that she used a lot of I statement. You need to buy me in a house, and I, and this and that. There's nothing we. And I think one of the most important parables is that if you're a union and you're a couple, you're doing things together, right? You both are contributing in some capacity, whatever that looks like for most people. And it can't seem like, okay, this person got me a house, so this is mine. Because once you say that I got her a house and it's hers, imagine in the event that you did get her the house, and at some point down the road, you have an argument and you're both not on the same page, and she tells you, get out of my house. You purchased it, you built it, you did all this thing, but now it's all of a sudden it's her house, right? And she has the right to kick you out of what you purchased and contributed. I think that's total and utter bullshit. I think it's a we and a us conversation. Once you start doing this I, you could tell that they're very selfish in an individual. She has a very independent sort of mindset, and sort of that doesn't work well in a unionship.
Go ahead, Sugar Curls.
Yeah, so I saw this clip yesterday as well. And when I initially heard it, I was thinking kind of like what Louise was saying. Is she married to him or are they engaged? I was kind of confused on that, because if they were engaged, then it is setting a precedent for how she wants things going forward. And he should definitely examine that. But hearing it today, it seems as if they are married. And kind of like what Precious was saying earlier, it seems as if it's kind of like hardwired in her, and she's not really open to any kind of negotiation, any kind of agreement. It's like, this is how she wants it. And she's almost like, it almost seemed a little threatening, like, you better do this. You need to do this. That's kind of the disposition that I got. And I don't see him pushing back. I don't see him setting a standard in that particular clip that I saw. I mean, I guess we're going to see how this pans out. But I do think that if her husband did require her to contribute financially, then she should be able to do so. But I don't really know where he is with this. He didn't really say much. So.
All right, Brother Hank, what are your thoughts about it? The wife says she doesn't want to contribute financially to the purchase of a home.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I don't understand. But I don't blame her. I don't blame Miss Heifer. This tackhead she's been like it from the get-go. Unfortunately, he missed the signs. He didn't hear it or see it or didn't want to acknowledge it. So she's been like this. She's been talking this selfish talk the whole time. So he shouldn't be surprised that she's not going to contribute. She's not. Then she used a statement talking about, well, I've seen it with other relationships. Oh, hell no. This heifer trying to keep up with the Joneses. So remember we had a conversation not last week before last, and you made a clip out of it. And one of the conversations, one of the pieces was, when is enough enough? And I share, it's not going to be until y'all are willing to accept to live a modern lifestyle. It won't. So when we talked about a man has to work till he can't stop, that's the type of woman we're talking about right there. That's the type of woman who's going to work a man into the ground till there is no more of him, because there's never enough for her. So if this man has to do what he wants to for this woman, yeah, he's going to be working 16-hour days, 5 to 6 days, maybe 7 days a week, in order to keep up with everything she wants, so she can brag and post and show off to her friends and family, or just some dudes who don't even, or people who don't even give a shit about her, just to try to impress them. That's the type of individual she is. So I blame you, dog, for investing your time in this heifer. I blame you, dog, for wasting your time even marrying this woman. I know it wasn't a courthouse wedding. She doesn't seem like a courthouse wedding chick. She seemed like it cost you about $50,000 to $60,000 for this wedding. I could imagine what your ring cost to get this woman a ring. So yeah, I blame this dude for falling for the okadoke. She got it. And now she's about to benefit to the end. Because he's going to buy the house. He's going to do everything she say, because he fell for it. Now, I don't know why. I don't know what it is about her, because she don't look that good to me. So maybe it's an intimacy game. Maybe she's a hell of a cook. I know she ain't clean. Matter of fact, she probably not even cooking. He doing all the goddamn cooking. He doing all the goddamn cleaning.
What?
I think the roles are reversed. Truth be told, I think he's the female and she's the man. So we realize who wears the pants in the family, and there's no giving it back. Dude, please don't have kids with this woman. So when you go to divorce court in about 5 or 6 years from now, because you're going to get tired of it eventually, you're going to bow your back one day and raise up on her ass, and she can, like Lou said, get out of my house. And you're going to have to leave that beautiful home you bought this woman. But guess what? As long as you got kids, it's not going to hurt as much. You're not going to lose as much. You might lose that house, but maybe you can still have your pride and your dignity about you. Wear a condom every time you lay it down with this effort.
I got to ask a follow-up question now for you guys. So do you think that a man should be able to provide a house, or are you okay with it being situational where it's dependent on the finances and maybe she can't contribute to buying a house? Or are you just set on that I'm the man, I'm going to get us the house and move in?
That's a good question, JR. You know what? I'm gonna let Precious go, and then I'm gonna answer, because
I was gonna say, like I said earlier, I think that a woman should see what a man freely gives. Would he freely, if he's not saying, I'm gonna buy you a house, babe, he ain't buying you a house. If he's not saying, I got all of this, he's expecting you to contribute. And he will probably say that too. Let's come to the table with our finances. What can we afford? What's in our budget? It's not, I'm going to do all of this. Now, if he's that type of man and he freely gives that, then that's what she expects. But I think that both people should come in with some skin in the game. I mean, it makes you work harder. It makes you want to be in that relationship. I think women who get everything handed to them take that for granted because they think that they have a man wrapped around their finger, or there's always going to be another man to take care of them in that capacity. And I think it's foolish to think that way, because it's like you're wasting who are you? What do you have to contribute? To yourself, to the man, to society? It's almost like you literally can be bought. And those women are coming up in society as Instagram models and video chicks, or whoever these women are getting these surgeries trying to be bought. So I think a woman should just see what a man freely gives. You'll know his heart by how he gives. And then you add to that. I think it's simple.
But yeah, I think, go ahead, Lou. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's given pretty much like, Women don't build, they move in. I will say this. I think one of the most important conversations you need to have, especially when it comes to a home, is how are we going to do this? And to kind of echo what Precious just said, what is your financial situation? A lot of people don't understand. Like, before you get married, be able to be in a position to purchase your own home, you know, like at least get a couple of them, right? You help her get one, you get one, right? Whether it's a 3-family, duplex, whatever, and then you get another one. Pour into each other's finances to help each other do that. And then once you get married, utilize the cash flow that comes from those properties to get your single family home where you could start a family. Now you're utilizing that money and that capital to pay for the expenses, utilities, etc. Right? And now you can utilize the money that you make from your business or job, whatever, and invest it, save it, and do other things that will free up time for you and your family. It's all about strategic planning and conversation. If you're not having these types of conversation about what type of lifestyle you would like to live and lead, and what type of lifestyle you would like to provide for your family, if you're not having those conversations up front, people get sticker shocked later when they're like, holy shit, you want me to buy this $750,000 home in this area where I make probably a fraction of the salary that it requires to live in this zip code? People are getting shocked by that because they're not having that conversation early up front. Because if you did, you could strategically plan together and do that, right? Don't put the onus on the man. You need to collectively, as a couple, as a union, have that conversation and strategize how you could achieve that, right? As opposed to just putting it on his shoulders. Because to the previous conversation that we had a couple of Sundays ago, when is it enough? I mean, like, inflation keeps going up, prices of things keep going up, so you have to keep beating that and keep putting yourself in a position where you're not losing money, because you'll live in a nice area and then next thing you know, you might get laid off or this and that, and then now you have to downsize from that nice beautiful home that you lived in this community to live somewhere else. So I think it's about strategic planning and having those upfront transparent conversations where expectations are thoroughly laid out.
I mean, I was going to say it is situational, but at the same time, Lou's nicer than me. I'm not going to buy no woman a home that doesn't belong to me. I'm not going to bless no woman with a home on my finance unless you belong to me, and unless you got my last name, you don't belong to me. I'm not going to protect you. You're not going to be under my covering. So if y'all be mad, I don't give a damn. I'm not protecting you if you're not under my covering, not under my protection. I'm not, because you're not entitled to that. I'm not going to bless you with that. But what I am going to bless you with is an opportunity. That's what I'm going to bless you with. And if you show fit, then you will get that opportunity. But like Lou said, I agree. Have your home before you get married. So she's not entitled to it if she decides 5 years later to act a goddamn fool. Talking about get out of my house. This is my home. I just brought you into it. So when we go to court and we settle this, you'll see. Now, this is coming from a man experience. I've been through that. I lived that life. I hate to see anybody go through it, but just in case, that's some free game for you.
All right. Go ahead, Sugar Slum.
So to answer the question, do I think that a man is required to purchase a home for a woman or his wife? I don't think is a requirement, but I do expect, and my view is that a man should be able to provide a home. So I do think it is situational. The couple should definitely discuss that prior to marriage. Where are they? Where is the potential husband? Is he able to provide a home? Some men may not be able to purchase a home. Maybe he can give her a nice condo. Maybe he lives in a 3-bedroom apartment. Whatever he can provide, that should be discussed. And if he discusses with her, hey, I need you to chip in for this amount, this is what I think we need to do, then that's something that she should acquiesce to. But I don't think it's a requirement for a man to necessarily purchase a home for his wife or potential wife. And I'm not a man, but I can understand what Hink is saying as far as he's going to do what he's going to do with his purchases. And if he feels like perhaps after you're actually my wife and you have my last name, I will purchase a home for you, then he will determine that.
I had another thought. Go ahead, Jay.
And that's what I was gonna say. I mean, I agree. It is circumstantial. You know, you may have a man that's saying, like Sugar Curls was saying, we can be in this 3-bedroom apartment now. You know, if you want a house, we can either do it in 3 years and you don't have to kick in, or we can do it now, but we're gonna need to be, you know, partners in this. We're gonna need to, you know, kick out a certain percentage. You put in this, I put in that. You know, it's all circumstantial depending on people's, you know, situations at the time. But I just think, like, as an adult, you have to realize if there's no equity being placed in, like, if you're not putting any equity into something, what are you going to be pulling out at the end, you know? And if you are trying to get something out of something that you put nothing into, you know what I'm saying, what type of person are you? So I think anybody that goes into something and doesn't feel like they have to put their part in whatever, you know, it doesn't have to be necessarily monetary, but in some capacity. That's how you come up with sweat equity, you know, people who actually put their time and energy into something. So if you put nothing as an adult, then you can't expect anything.
All right, my last follow-up question is, let's just say that you are about to purchase a house and or you have a house. Let's say that let's just say the man is the one that provides the house. If the woman wants her name on it, wants to be added to it, and or let's just say you guys are purchasing a house, she wants to be her name to be involved in. Is that a go for you guys? Is that an issue? Would that be a concern?
No, she shouldn't have a name on it unless unless it's your wife. Unless it's my wife, she's not gonna get a name on anything. Not
Yeah,
a
I
deed,
agree.
not a beneficiary. She gets nothing until she gets blessed with my last name. No woman should be entitled to anything of yours until she gets your last name. Now, if you choose to give her things, bless her with things, that's your choice. You're not entitled to do those things. You're not obligated to do anything for her like that. Now, if you want to bless her, then bless her. But
I
she's
want,
not entitled to have her name put on the deed.
yeah,
No,
like
sir.
I want to go and correct myself because that was easy if she's not your wife. So let's just say that she is your wife, right? She is your wife. And so you guys got married before purchasing the house, and or let's just say you guys may be engaged or leading up to it. Um, if she wants her name, say, hey, I want to be put onto the house, because some women feel as though um, if they're walking into a situation and they may not trust it, right? If you have the power to say, get out of my house, and then she has to leave. I have heard of some instances where there is a level of concern as far as turning it all over. And I know you probably say, well, you shouldn't be getting married, right? But there are some people that it just happens, and they may not speak up on it, but they may suggest, hey, maybe we should go ahead and do it together. How do you guys feel about that?
So if I agree with Hank, she should be a wife, because I don't look at it as if we break up, or whatever, who's going to get a house. Like, you should always be able to provide for yourself. And if you don't get that house, you should be able to get a house, some house. But I look at it as sickness and a health. So, you want to be able to join with someone that could sign on a dotted line about your life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking at it as, oh, well, if we break up, who's going to get the house? It's, can I trust my life in his hands? And I think it should be the same with the man. Can I truly trust her with my assets? Or do I think she's going to scam me? Or do I think she's getting over on me? Or do I think that she's doing this for a specific reason? Like the woman in the video. You know, she talking about that would be a great push gift. Like push gifts, that just became a thing, I think, within the last 10 years or so, maybe. You know, you do your duty as a woman and you have those kids. Your gift is that you have somewhere to live to raise those kids, and you have a protector and a provider. So I think it's someone that, you know, you can trust, that if you were to give them the authority over your property or over the property, that they would do the right thing with it.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything to it? Or?
Well, now
So
you
you
want.
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Shakira. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you were, JR, just so I understand the question, you were saying if they are married and the woman wants her name on the deed, should that be something that they do together? Was that the question?
Yeah, so I just say they marry, right? They stay in an apartment, or let's just say they are agreeing to move out of their own separate places into one.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's going to go ahead and provide the house. Should it be an issue if they wanted to do it together? Like, hey, let's go ahead and do it together. Let's say the man can afford it, right? He said he's already expressed to her that, hey, I'm going to do it, but she wants to be on it in some form, whether it be via the deed or whether she's actually on a financing loan, whatever the case may be. She just wants some attachment so that she feels as though it's hers as well, even though they are married.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know about other states, but in certain states, if you're living in the home for a certain amount of time, whether your name is on the deed or not, that's kind of where you live. I don't know all the legalities, but I would imagine that most husbands who are looking to protect and provide for his wife will eventually put her on the deed. But it's her home as well. So I don't think she should feel in any way like she's not protected or she's not secure, because the evidence of his behavior, she should be able to see that it's all good. If something happens, maybe her name's in the will. Something happens, she can trust that that home is still hers. So all the technicalities and legalities, I just think a woman needs to trust more the man that she's marrying.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what I'm saying? That's a good point. In the event of the untimely demise of the husband in any circumstance, right? Like, is your paperwork in order to make sure that the house doesn't go through probate court? You'd be surprised how many people are in probate court lining up by the droves trying to salvage and reclaim grandma's old home because no one was put on the paperwork. They didn't put it in a trust. They didn't do any type of estate planning or execution, right? So now everybody's in probate court and they're chopping that thing up. A lot of people are in there. So again, this just comes down to, who is on the paperwork, like who is the beneficiary, right? In the event that something shall happen, right? In those types of conversations, again, gotta happen up front, because, then if something does happen, she's stuck outside with 3 kids in a home that she can no longer access, that she's not on the paperwork, that the bank is recalling, right?
I used to work in evictions law office, and I saw it happen every day.
Yeah, like even during the pandemic, that was a great example. There was tons of that happening.
To answer the follow, could you say it again, Jay? I think I kind of missed it. I'm sorry.
Nah, it was just if she wants her name to be added in some form of capacity. It's a new marriage. They may be in a process of buying a house together. Let's just say that he was already living somewhere, she was living somewhere, and they just wanted to get a house. Maybe he went ahead and said, "I'm gonna push forward," but she wants her name to be added in some form of capacity. That's all it really is. Is it an issue? Do you see it's a level of concern? Do you have a problem with it if you're in that situation?
Nah, I mean, if that's my wife, again, we coming together as one. You already gave me your body, so what's your money? It's just paper. What the hell are we talking about? So she would be entitled to everything and all things. I said this before. If you my wife, you entitled to everything and all things. That means everything, my financials, there's no rainy day fund, there's no hidden fund, there's no hidden homes over here that you're not going to know about. Passwords, codes, all that's going to be on a USB stick right there for you. Here you go. If anything was to happen for me, you have access to it. You go right now if you wanted to and have access because you're my wife. But the same thing I'm giving you, I expect you to give me. So don't come up here later on, I find that you got a secret fund. I'm going to go piss on your goddamn grave. What the hell are you doing with this rainy day fund? What we doing here? We don't do this. We keeping everything on the up and up. That's what it's all about.
All right, I hear you, brother Hank. I hear you. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef and Sundays on the Lapeef Network. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I did have a couple of things that went on. Embrace the Grace became a member. Shout out to you. Welcome to Green Gang. G Wilder, $2. Say hit the like button. Family is free. And I do want to start trying to highlight some of the Green Gang's comments. And if I do see them, dedicated to my children's future, said if I already have the house, I will question why she would need to have her name on it. Kind of wondering if that's a level of control. One may argue. Embrace the Grace, she just recently became a member, so I'm going to highlight one of hers. She says, so to the ladies that think that marriage is just a piece of paper, being a wife is the flex. All right. I want to say thank the people that have contributed, and shout out to all my Green Gang. If you want to become part of that, that link is pinned to the top of the chat. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is, do men have standards? Do men have standards?
JR, you mind if I answer that statement he made that you just put up?
Which one?
I guess dedicated to our children's future.
Okay, what was it? Which one was it?
Something about he already has his house. Why would she need to put a name on it?
Okay, yeah.
I think that's what it says.
Yeah, that's what it said. Go ahead.
Okay, well, to me, depending on the situation. So, like my situation, there's no way I would bring my new wife into the home that my ex-wife lived in. That's tacky as hell. I would never do that shit. So, you know, she there's no way she probably want to be on it because that wouldn't be right. But if I had a home where, you know, like I was free and clear, I got this when I was a single man and bring in, I put a name on. Yeah, why not? Because you don't want to, like Lou and Precious was saying, why would you want to put your wife and your kids in that situation where they could be put out because it caught up in probation court? Because the state can take over and just take their home, and now they have nowhere to live. Yeah, that's not cool. So that's the reason why you want to do it.
It's one thing I like about the shows, man. You learn something because I never knew that. So thanks for that, Hank. Thanks for sharing your story.
Right on, big brother.
Dedicated my church says, LOL, JR read the one comment I didn't expect him to read. Hey, man. Part of Green Gang, man. So all your comments matter. All your comments matter. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. As I said, the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That topic is, do men have standards? I think this is great. This is great. When I heard the video.
You're muted.
You're on mute, JR. You hit mute.
Yeah, just let me go ahead and say a lot. Do men have standards? I thought this was a great topic. It'd be a dope discussion because before everything hit the wave with the podcast, I was curious, did men really have standards? Or were the standards set based off what we were hearing? Because I've had these discussions and you hear a lot of men say what they don't want, what they wouldn't tolerate. They want a natural woman, but I've seen a lot of men just being out and even being around them that most women are dressed up. Most women do wear makeup. Most women don't wear the natural hairstyles. And if they do wear the natural hairstyles, they're often getting accused of being Afrocentric and spiritual and light incense and don't wear deodorant. I mean, so the women that are dressed up to par, that do take the time to invest in themselves, a lot of men do go after them or they lust after them. Or maybe they do have the natural woman at home, but they're on Instagram scrolling and liking and following the things that they say that they don't like. So let's go ahead and open this up. Do men have discussions? I'll go ahead and play this clip and then we'll go ahead and dive into it.
Standards, right? And you said that men didn't have standards, or do men have standards outside of the ones that Kevin Samuels set?
Anytime you ask a man now or any podcast a man has and they say the requirements, they're literally listing the same ones that Kevin Samuels had.
I'm telling you, before he said it, that's what men always wanted. He just had
That's
a
a
loud
fact.
voice.
When I listen to podcasts or like you ask like men that you know, I feel like Kevin Samuels just set like that standard for them. And then it's like they get those things and the women is still not satisfying them because I just feel like it's not what you want. I just feel like you're saying that because it was handed to you in a handbook.
All right. You guys heard the context. Do men have standards? Who would like to go? Let me go to Hank first. On this one. What are your thoughts, sir?
I mean, that's just an example. A lot of ladies just didn't listen to the individual they in a relationship with. That's all it is. They didn't listen to their brothers, their cousins, their uncle, any other man probably in the family. They just didn't listen to them. Because men, like the guy was saying, men been saying this. I'm not a fan of the weaves, wigs, and eyelashes. None of that. I'm not a fan of it. And I haven't been. I haven't been since I was a kid, man. Even when I was younger in high school, I wasn't a big fan of all that shit. And during that time, they was rocking the curls. I wasn't a fan of that shit. So nothing really has changed much since then. And so it was just my standards I had. And I just won't accept I move off of. So it's kind of funny, man, when people are thinking it's just, well, Kevin Samuels said it, now y'all. No, man, men been saying this. A lot of people just ain't been listening. So now, like he said, a guy with a platform has been putting it out there. Now y'all hear it. Y'all just don't like the way it's said. But now y'all hear it. So, main thing, do men have standards? Yes, we do. We all do. We just, some have high standards, some have low. It depends on what type of man you're dealing with at the end of the day.
All right, Sugar Curls, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was thinking along the lines with Hink. I think it depends on the type of man as well. I do think as a baseline, for the most part, most men want a woman who is fit. Most men want a woman who does take care of herself, who is cooperative. She does submit. Now, in relation to the type of man, there are some men who are not as assertive. There are some men who do not take charge. And so they may have a standard of a woman who does take charge because he's lacking in that area. But as far as the beauty and the looks, there are some men who really love the Afrocentric look. They love the natural look. They love the afros, but then there are some men who like the corporate look. They may prefer, I have talked to men, as you know, I have many clients that actually like the lashes. They like the weave. They like the makeup. So as far as those standards from a visual standpoint, I do think it depends on the man. But as a baseline, I don't think a real man desires a woman who is not cooperative, who, as some of the Kevin Samuels sayings were, who's not friendly. Why would a man want to come home to a woman who's acting like him? He has to go out all day with men, with the world. Why would he want to come home to a woman who is bringing that same garbage into the home? I think most men want peace. So the other standards, I think, are dependent on the type of man that he is.
Okay. Go ahead, Jay. A story to tell. What are your thoughts?
I think men develop standards, and your standards are developed by what you do, where you visit, who you're around. You know, for instance, when I was in the neighborhood and didn't know anything except the neighborhood growing up, I liked me a hood chick, you know, with the tight jeans and the Reebok classics, you know, and the bamboo earrings. I loved that. Then I went off to college and I saw, you know, the sororities, the AKAs, they was stuck up, but they was proper, they was prissy, they spoke well. And I'm like, okay, she got a little attitude, but she's corporate, so to speak. You know, then I went to other areas. So you develop standards, you deal with these different people, you get a different taste for different areas and meet different people that are into different things, and you acquire a taste that develops your standards. Now, if you don't see things or go places, and you know, you'll never realize what's really out there or what you need to stay away with or what may be better for you. But all that stuff is acquired by living and broadening your horizons and trying different things and meeting different people and conversing with different groups of people, So I think initially, our standards are held to our immediate environment, the circle that you're around. But when you broaden that circle, that broadens your standards. You tolerate less. Like Sugar Curls was saying about uh women being argumentative, the rap for New York women is that, oh, they hard, they tough, which to an extent is true. There's a few that are not like that, but that is the vast majority. But you come to the South and they're a little more soft spoken, a little more hospitable. So you like, damn, well, okay, I thought I had to deal with that in New York. I could come down here and get some hospitality. But it's all to living. You develop your standards, you figure out what you don't like, and then you acquire them and you hold that to all the people that come into your life. So I think it's developed. And like development, you have to live to develop. You have to grow to evolve. So if you stay in this circle, you're going to get what you put out. If you never do anything, you're never going to get anything.
All right. Real Precious, what are your thoughts? Do men have standards?
I'm going to agree with Jay. Actually, I was just this morning, I was attending church, and my pastor has this thing where he says males are born, men are made, which means that, like Jay was saying, it's through your experience, it's through your growth, it's through, the people who are teaching you, where you then grow those standards. Because little boys who come from the hood per se aren't necessarily going to have high standards, and it's not necessarily their fault to a certain extent until they get to that age where they have autonomy over who they are and who they become and who they want in their life. So do men have standards? I believe that men have standards, but there are some who don't have standards. So you see which men have really grown. And I think that, a lot of men don't even get that credit, because a lot of women will box men into the same box. Oh, he just want this, or he just want that, he just want this. And there are men who's like, that's not me. Just like men will box some women in all the same box. And some women are like, wait, but that's not me. So I do believe that men do have standards, but they're made that way. They're not born that way.
Okay. Welcome to the show, Ariel. I'll get to you in a second. Luis, do men have standards?
Yeah, I really like what Jay put down. It is an evolutional process that you kind of grow through, and obviously you're a byproduct of what you're exposed to and what you listen to, what you consume on a daily basis, the people that you counsel with, right? All of that takes a huge play in terms of your self-development and understanding what are those things that are your non-negotiables. What are your standards, what are your non-negotiables, what does that look like? And but one thing that I found very interesting, especially from the video, is that she said that that Kevin Samuels gave every man their blueprint. But I would argue that every man in here and in most places know what women want, right? What most women want on a base level, right? And that's just ingrained. So I think far too long sort of the culture has ignored the needs and understandings of what men need and what they want, that it's become now a shock that when somebody gets on a microphone with a camera and says it out loud to the world, all of a sudden it's too much to take in. Well, in fact, that this has been something that's been slowly echoed to these women for a very long time, and unfortunately, it has taken this type of noise in order to kind of get that attention, that level of attention for men, especially when it comes to the relationship. One thing that I would say about standards is that a lot of the morals and values, sometimes come from your household. Whether you're a religious person, whether you're spiritual, whether you adhere to certain family values and traditions, right? And those are very important because they help you kind of navigate. And especially when you're talking to women, I usually refer to as like the 3 T's. What is your training, what is your tradition, and what is your trauma? Training being like, what are those skill sets and values that have been passed down to you and instilled in you in your family and within your community? What is your teaching? What are those life lessons that have been instilled upon you? And then trauma, what are those shortcomings that you have experienced, right? And how have you persevered through that? And getting a closer insight of what that looks like, because it's different for everybody, will give you a clear insight of what type of person you're navigating the world with, right? And I think that right there becomes a much stronger cornerstone than as opposed to people relying on what other people are thinking in terms of their standard, because some people have low standards. Let's be very honest. I forgot who said that, but that's very true. But once you establish your non-negotiable in that, it's going to be as clear as day, and it's also going to repel those who are not meant to be in alignment with you.
All right. Ariel, I'm gonna go ahead and come to you. You get a chance to see the video? I'm play the video real quick for you.
Standards, right? And you said that men didn't have standards, or do men have standards outside of the ones that Kevin Samuels set?
Anytime you ask a man now, or any podcast a man has, and they say the requirements, they're literally listing the same ones that Kevin Samuels had.
I'm telling you, before he said it, that's what men always wanted. He just had
That's
a
a
loud
fact.
voice.
When I listen to podcasts, or like you ask like men that I feel like Kevin Samuels just set like that standard for them, and then it's like they get those things and the women is still not satisfying them, because I just feel like it's not what you want. I just feel like you're saying that because it was handed to you in a handbook.
That's the context. Do men have standards? What are your thoughts, Ariel?
I think that in general, yes, that men do have standards. And I think the woman, I don't know her name, does have a point in that it is echoed over and over again, like men want these specific things. But the truth of the matter is when you get married, every man does have a different lifestyle, a different needs. And there are going to be women that are going to be more suited to what they're doing at that point in their life than other women would be. We live in a society now where 2 incomes is necessary for most people. So if you're a high, income earner, maybe you need a different type of woman. But if you're not, maybe you need a woman who has a different type of job, different type of flexibility. So in a broad sense, yes, like men want a woman who is feminine. They want a woman who can probably cook, who is a good mother or nurturer. But then when you look into the nuances of it, you want to make sure that, like, men is going to want to make sure that if I have to work from this time to that time, that she also can maybe be at home during that time, or whatever it may be, if that makes sense.
Okay. Me personally, I don't think, man, I'm along the same lines as Jay, man. I think your standards go up as you live life and experiences. But if you are living within a bubble, then everything you see is just what it is. I think when you meet a certain type of woman, she shows you that she has standards because she probably won't fuck with you for whatever reason. She may say you too ghetto. She may say you like you dress like you a rapper. So then you start to see when women have standards, you start to see what it is and what it looks like. And then if you never got outside of your bubble or lived life or got some exposure or been around different types of people, then you're not gonna really know no better. So I think not enough men have standards, to be honest. And I think that even if they do have standards, they're not standing on. There are some things that you should not take in from anybody. But when it comes to dating, there are some things that you just shouldn't accept, because what is happening is that we constantly keep creating this cycle where we keep repeating the same bad habits out there, and a lot of bad habits are being created because of us. It always starts with ourselves, and I'm speaking to the man because I'm a man. That if you do have certain standards and certain requirements, then you will be able to accept someone. You be able to bring somebody in within a marriage, and the marriage can be healthy. It can grow because you've been able to curate that from the beginning, versus you finding out things and you discovering things later because you lowered your standards, or you didn't have any standards to begin with. So that's just my thoughts. Hopefully it all makes sense.
You know
And
what?
real quick,
Looking at that video, it's obvious. I don't know. She acts like no man can't think for themselves. That's what it came off to me as too. Seeing it for the second time, like no man can think for himself. If it weren't for Kevin, we wouldn't be able to function by ourselves, and that's surely not the case. Now, maybe it might be the case for the type of men that she's dealing with. Maybe that's the case, like them low standard man who has no ability to do anything besides dumb shit. But it's just sad that she was saying what she was saying, like men can't think for themselves.
And I think, oh, I'm sorry, Jay.
no, go, Precious. I'll go after go.
I think that people can only see at the level, certain people, most people can only see at the level that they're at. And so she's probably saying, oh, well, all these men are saying that now that Kevin Samuels is saying it, but she could be getting the attention of a man who doesn't have any standards. And so he is giving her this attention. And so she thinks what she brings to the table or how she looks may be the standard. And so she doesn't even want to listen to what men are saying that they want, because she's probably not what most of the men are saying that they want. But because somebody is giving her attention, she is saying, oh, well, why are y'all saying that just because Kevin Samuels is saying it? And it's like, no, men have been saying this, but not the men that you come across. So her vision is skewed on what the majority of men are saying. And then the problem lies where there is power in numbers. And you would think that if the majority of men are saying this and you're messing with the minority of men, what results do you think that you're going to get? You're literally, what do they say? Get the shit into the stick. Like, you literally are going to get that when that's what you don't want to stop being fixated on.
And I think Luis mentioned something that, he briefly touched: trauma, because a lot of women will mention, oh, they don't have no standards. Look who he dealt with, or look who he had a kid with. The trauma portion of us, a lot of men are quiet about a lot of things. When we're young, there are a lot of things that go on and that happen to us way too young to be happened to us, or stuff we witness or stuff we experience at ages when we shouldn't be experiencing. And that's trauma. And as we get older, that stuff plays out in your adulthood. So, when you're scrolling down Instagram and you're looking at a fat wiggling ass, and that this person is poison and you should keep scrolling, that's not attached to our standards. That is attached to our trauma. You know what I mean? Whether you had some older woman that, men have experienced it. We hear a lot more about women's circumstances in their adolescence, but you don't hear it about men. That exists for us as well, and it plays into an adulthood if it goes unchecked and untreated. And that's where that comes into play. We have our standards, but then you have the goddamn strippers, you know what I'm saying? Bottle service chicks. Why are we attracted to that? Or what? Because we have something playing in our head that they can provide that we feel we're not going to get from the person that we have the standard for. So it's like, and that has to be separate. I hear people say the, lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. that shouldn't be the case. You can't mix fantasy and reality. You know, I think that's the problem. People are trying to take fantasy and reality and make them one. Those two should never exist in the same space, because it's not it's not gonna happen. That's why you have people that are in unhappy relationships, because you're taking fantasy, you're taking reality, and you're trying to make those exist in the same space, and it's not gonna happen. It's gonna explode in your face, because the minute that you try to turn what is reality into a fantasy, it's not gonna happen. It's not sustainable.
All right. Anybody else want to add on to it?
Yeah, that was deep. That was deep.
Go ahead, Sugar Courage came off the mic.
Yes, I did want to add on. I was thinking when Precious was talking that one of the reasons also people were saying, oh, men are just now speaking up because Kevin Samuels has laid out things, is because I think that from what men have said, they just didn't feel comfortable speaking up and saying a lot of these things because women were acting a certain way. Women were not listening. And so then the platform, and also I think Lapeef Network as well, set a platform for men to be able to have a safe space. And so now more men are like more comfortable and they're speaking out regardless. They don't care what the women have to say. So maybe she's just hearing it more.
Also, too, I think it's also a byproduct of where we are as a society. You know, I always keep referring that, you know, we're very much in a very postmodern society in terms of how we communicate with each other, how we gather, you know, and even how relationship dynamics, you know, are even established today. Like prior to some point in time, right, we used to only view one dynamic of relationship. Today, now it's like open marriage. Now it's all these different types of dynamics, right? And unfortunately, one of the things that tends to be not talked about enough is sort of like we always hold men to the fire, their feet to the fire, but we don't really do a good job of that when it comes to certain women. That's why certain women are with very weak and goofy men, because of the simple fact that they won't challenge them on their bullshit. You know what I'm saying? They won't challenge them on their bullshit. They won't, you know, try to hold them to task or hold them accountable. And because of that, they think that whatever their behavior is, it's acceptable because these types of men accept it. But the ones who do push back and the ones who do stand 10 toes down, they won't accept that. And sort of they feel that those men, the ones who hold them this task, are toxic, are, you know, what is it, misogynist, or all these other buzz terms, because they won't bend to their will, right? That's where that head, you know, keeps butting. And I think that once people start to remove fantasy, like the brother Jay said, you know, and they're hit with that dose of reality, they'll start to understand that everything that you come to realize, it's not forever. Short-term attention does not ever equate to long-term retention. And too many people are out here looking for short-term attention and expecting long-term gains, which never ever happens.
All right.
I'm trying to figure out, man, Jay, am I traumatized because I hit the like button on Kathy Drayton's Instagram? Is that what you said telling me, Jay? Am I traumatized because I do that?
I mean, it's tied to something, man. I mean, you think about it. Think about the, you know, think about the. Nah, let me stop.
I was waiting for it, Jay. Stop now.
Yeah,
No, I'm saying,
I need to answer,
you
big
know,
brother.
the same things that discuss us, turn us on at the same time, man. And if we can't agree to that, then we don't need to even have the conversation. I can be disgusted and turned on at the same time. That's trauma.
All right, that's a mic drop moment there with Jay, a story to tell. If you guys just tuned in, welcome to LAPEEF Sundays. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We did have one super chat that came through. Original, everything else is carbon copy. $10 also. Member says, in my religion, the women has the right, so do the men. One of women's rights is we have our own assets. We don't have to give or share with our what? We don't have to give or share with our them unless we chose to. Theirs is ours and ours is ours. Okay. Appreciate you. Shout out to the Green Gang that's in the chat right now. If you want to become part of the Green Gang, that link is pinned to the top of the chat. See, we got Ali and Fantasy Island Girl in the chat. Salute to you guys. Um, Podcasting with Jay.
Did I say theirs is ours and ours is ours? I'm sorry. I know we're not going to skim over that. We're just going to go right back to that. Just real quick. It was a religion? It was a religion? Was it? Did it say religion?
It did. It really did. In my religion, the women has rights to has rights, so do men. One of women's right is we can have our own assets. We don't have to give or share with them. I believe he's trying to say, unless we choose to. Theirs is ours and ours is ours. I don't know.
Wow.
I want to know what book they're reading.
What religion is that?
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Fantasy
religion.
Island.
I think it's just his lifestyle. I don't know, but I mean, trying to read the Negro dialect about it is saying, you know, hers is mine and mine is ours. I guess is what it's saying. We're all one. That's what it sounds like.
What it's saying is selfishness, is what it's saying.
You think it's saying selfish? I'm thinking it's saying it's ours. It's
said,
all one.
Theirs is ours, and this is a woman as a
theirs is ours and ours is ours. Right. Mine is mine and yours is mine, is what it's saying.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Hank is saying yours is mine and mine is mine. So you get nothing.
No, your selfish ass ain't gonna make it with me. Yeah, you ain't gonna make it with me. I believe in the one pot theory, baby. So no, we ain't gonna connect.
All right.
It was just interesting. It was interesting.
Nothing wrong with it. No. That's a good analogy. He's also a member. I'm just highlighting periodically. I want to highlight the members just to show a thanks for being a member. Men don't need safe spaces unless he's. I should put this. Men are speaking out more just to give women a chance to avoid being silently ghosted. So salute to you, Lord Geotron, and thank you for becoming a member.
That's another question mark, but we could keep going.
Dedicated to my children's future, $20 also a member. So to you. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. It is early afternoon, morning, still morning for you guys over there on the West Coast. Men establish relationships. Huh? What'd you say, Hank?
I said somebody on the West Coast up here. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, not on the panel, in the chat. Somebody.
Okay.
They said good morning, so that's what.
Yeah, they're just having their first cup of coffee.
Right on.
Men establish relationships. Men establish relationships. You guys agree? Just real quick before I play this video. You on mute, Luis.
Men establish relationships. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Does anybody disagree with this?
I want to say that men establish relationships, but he needs the agreement from her.
Yeah.
So
I think he presents it to her. Right?
Yeah,
and that if she elects to accept, then there you go.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask the chat then. Do you guys agree with that? Just go ahead and put agree or disagree. If men establish a relationship, let's go ahead and start there. I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip and then we'll dive into the discussion.
For something to the young mother, if I may. So just a couple of things that you said, and I'm really proud of you for being brave and being honest, but just moving forward. The first thing that you said that struck me, you said how you felt about the man. I felt this way about him. I was attracted to him. All the wonderful qualities. just be mindful that men establish relationships. So up and until he says, I belong to you and you belong to me, or I would like to take this to the next level, I don't want to see other people, anything other than that, it's not a relationship. Even if we feel all of the things, unless the man has established it, you are not in a relationship. And I think as women, it would be wise of us to not assume just because we feel some way, it's so.
There's the context.
Well, I definitely agree with that.
Okay, go ahead, Precious.
Yeah, I agree with that. You have to. I think a lot of women get caught up in their feelings and this euphoria of when you're first starting to talk to a guy that you may like, and you take any type of gesture as communication when it's really just a gesture of what he's doing. So a lot of women will be like, oh, we go together now. We go together now. That's my man, my man, my man, my man, my man. And he never said that he was your man. He never said, I'm interested in taking this further. He never said, hey, you seen anybody else? Because yeah, you're gonna have to dead that. He never established his position in your life. And so if a man doesn't establish his position in your life, he's just a friend. He's just a friend.
Yeah, I think I understood it the same way Precious thought about it the first time. That's why I was hesitant to answer. It's like a dude coming up being like, yo, you're mine now, so let's go, which nah. But in most cases, yeah, a woman has already chose him and he has to just get a salute like, yeah, okay, you got me, clink, clink.
Yeah, a man gives it the seal of approval. I mean, I've been in a situation before where, yeah, we go together. I didn't say we did. And so she asked me, well, why you seen that other girl? Because I haven't established we go to. Just because in your mind you think we together. I didn't say that. So you move like we are. I'm moving like I'm supposed to be moving. A single man enjoying life.
All right. Go ahead. Sugar Curls. Sugar Curls Salon. Go ahead.
I do apologize. I went to the restroom and I think I missed some of the video.
All right, here we go. Don't worry about it. I'll go ahead and play it.
Okay.
It's always good to get the second time. It's just like reading the Bible, they said. That's why they said I read the Bible over and over again, because it's always unpack something different. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and play this again.
I would like to offer something to the young mother, if I may. So just a couple of things that you said, and I'm really proud of you for being brave and being honest, but just moving forward. The first thing that you said that struck me, you said how you felt about the man. I felt this way about him. I was attracted to him. All the wonderful qualities. Just be mindful that men establish relationships. So up and until he says, I belong to you and you belong to me, or I would like to take this to the next level, I don't want to see other people, anything other than that, it's not a relationship. Even if we feel all of the things, unless the man has established it, you are not in a relationship. And I think as women, it would be wise of us to not assume just because we feel some way, it's so.
There you go, Sugar Curls.
Okay, well, I would just have to say I agree. There's really no other way to put it. Men are, quote unquote, the gatekeepers of marriage. They do establish the relationship. In fact, I think even in context, in the world we live in, we may see that many women compete for a man, right? And so ultimately, he's choosing based on her character, based on what she brings to the table, which woman he may choose to go further in the relationship. And even while they're dating, he's the one that chooses, okay, I know she's wife material, but I need to see more of her character. I need to see how she behaves in certain situations. And ultimately, he's the one that's going to propose and say, yes, I want you to be my wife. So there's really no getting around it. I think as women, we do need to recognize that. And we do need to understand what we bring to the table to make sure that we are being vetted by the type of man that we qualify for, so that we aren't, in essence, wasting his time or our time. But he does establish the relationship.
All right. Ariel, what are your thoughts about it? Men establish relationships.
I honestly don't have too much more to add. I kind of just agree with what was said in the video. It's very true. Women can have feelings for a man, and we've seen it time and time again with women where it's like you might feel something towards someone, but unless that man says, "I want to be with you," really there isn't any relationship happening. That's typically how it goes. It's very rare that you would see it in reverse. And usually, if that's the case, that's not a relationship that's going to last for a while. Like the man has to be the initiator in that case. So nothing really different to add. Just I completely agree with the clip for sure.
Okay. Luis, what are your thoughts on men establish relationships?
Yeah, I agree with the video, and and I agree with a lot of the sentiment that a lot of people have shared. One thing that I would say, and I don't think that has been talked about yet, is that although the man establishes the relationship, and although the man is the gatekeeper to relationships in marriage, ladies, please understand it is incumbent upon you to ask and vet that man the same way and make sure that you're both in alignment and that you both see a future potentially with each other. What happens is that what the woman in the video said, it's all about the butterflies, the feels, the vibes, all of these buzzwords, right? But there's very little conversation about, hey, what do you need to feel comfortable to take this to the next stage? What do you need from me to show up as a woman or a partner for us to establish a relationship? You know what I'm saying? What do you need from me as a potential wife in the future that I could pour into you, right? These types of questions in understanding how he responds will let you know, whether you fit in or whether you don't. In the moment that you're no longer in alignment, regardless of how much butterflies, feels, and vibes you have, you need to kind of step away, especially if he's not giving you what you want, because you could like that person, right? Because, this is the thing about, I always say, you can like who you like, but does who you like you back? You know? And it's very important for ladies to understand to ask those questions that lead and push that can down the road. Don't let time slip by, getting in these, surface level conversations. Start getting cutting deeper into the layers of who is this person? Where is he heading? What does he think about marriage? What does he think about relationship dynamics? All these important conversations that will lead into something. They'll give you an indication whether this is going to work out or not. Don't wait until the end and then it all blows up in your face.
Okay. Anybody go ahead, Hank, like you want to add to it?
Yeah, but and to build on what Lee's saying, that's part of having them tough questions, man. The tough conversations that every man and woman like should have. And I always tell about men having tough conversations, interrogating women. I'm not just gonna question. I'm gonna interrogate you because I need to know everything and all things about you. Like I said all the time, by the third date, I need to know your credit score and everything. It's a must. So women, you could do it too. I don't know why we wouldn't. Why wouldn't you? If you feel like this man could be your future husband someday, why wouldn't you want to know everything and all things? Like you said, Jay, Lou. Another one for the women who has kids, you need to know their style of parenting. What's your style of discipline? All of those things. You need to consider everything. It depends on everybody's situation, but you should always ask those hard, tough questions. You want to know and to get the answers that you need to know before you go like you said, any more deep than you have to do. You don't want to wait till you get to the altar and then you find out some more stuff that you didn't know. Why? Because you didn't ask the right questions. Now that's on you, man or woman.
But see, this is the thing about it, Hank, is that people don't ask those tough or specific questions because they're afraid that if they answer it counter to what they're looking for, what they want, they will have to disqualify that person as a potential mate, as a potential partner, or someone that they can see and build the future with. That's the reason why people are afraid
But that's what
of
they need to
the
do.
other side of the other side of the door. They don't want to know what's on the other side of the door. They're still trapped in that sort of fantasy experience, right? That they don't want to understand the harsh truth behind the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know something? That's like you have your standards. So I have certain standards. I have 10 standards. Ladies, you got to at least get 7 out of 10 for me to marry you. And there's some standards I'm not moving off of. It's the same way for the ladies. And if they're saying the things, regardless of what they say, even if you don't like the answer, if that's part of your core standards you're not moving off of, you need to leave that dude right then and there. Don't invest. Get out. Run if you have to. Do not deal with that person. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, you know, it could be hurtful at the end. 2 or 3 years down the road, I didn't realize. No, you did. You just looked past it. You ignored it, or you just accepted it.
I just wanted to add one thing. I do feel that, honestly, I do feel that a majority of people who are getting to the point of marriage do ask tough questions. I would say that. I think what happens often is that most people are not self-aware. So I think what happens is people are actually asking the questions and people are responding. Their significant other is responding, but they're not living in reality about who they are. Like a lot of people are still in process and they haven't gotten to the point where they're able to be honest with themselves and say, you know what, I'm not that good at this thing, but I'm working on it. So people get in marriages having told their significant other, yeah, I'm definitely going to be this, I'm definitely going to be that. And then they get in the marriage and it's like, well, you said this is how you're going to be, this is who you are. And then they're seeing a different version or feel like the person who was presented to them was not who they really were. That's my perception of how the dating marriage situation happens often, especially from the woman's perspective. You'll hear that a lot with women. They'll feel like they got a bait and switch.
Yeah, but that's what they got to show the evidence. They got to show it in their actions. And that's why you take your time. You know, I'm not the guy that's going to sit there and say, hey, get married 9 months after. No, you don't have to do that. But in the meantime, between time, some of those, when you have those self-conversations, you need to follow up and see if they living by what they're talking about. See if they following through what they're saying. And if they are, oh, they got a chance. Now, if they're not, hey, you need, get to moving. But as long as they're doing what they're saying, then okay, there's a good chance he's going to follow through with what he's saying, or she's going to follow through with what she's doing, how she's acting. She's showing it in her actions. He's showing it in his actions. As long as they give you that, you can rock with them.
Yeah, people are saying I do to all the things that they see and know about the person, not to everything that they don't know and will later come to discover once they're in it in real time. That becomes where the clash of heads and wait a minute, like why you never brought this up, why you never talked about this. A lot of people don't want to share about their shortcomings, their insecurities, and sort of the things that they're not really good at. A lot of people tend to kind of overqualify themselves, right? You ever see the resume where they only have literally like one year of experience, but yet they packed on stuff that looks like 20 years of experience? That's really what it looks like. People are just overqualifying themselves for people that they don't even qualify for. And I mean, that's okay. You just need to understand where you're at and what you need to do to get there. Right? It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. And unfortunately, a lot of people tend to stay in places and not self-develop and become self-aware where they can take themselves to that next level and to have honest conversations with their person. Like, hey, look, I'm not really good at this, or I lack in this type of area, but I'm working on it. People are honestly afraid to be in that kind of that level of vulnerability, that level of honesty, because they're afraid that their person who they are selecting will judge them or look at them a particular type of way. And I'll end with this. If I can't tell you the honest truth at the expense of our relationship, we don't have one.
I want to ask just a follow-up question real quick. Like, what are some standards that's outside of the typical that you're just not going for, that you're just gonna say, I absolutely need this, or I absolutely can't deal with this? Just name a couple from everybody. There's some standards that I'm just curious.
I know, like mine is the one pot. I mean, I've dated a couple people that damn near hurt that soul. No, I'm not cool. Today will be the last. I'm not moving off that. So mine's one pot for me, JR.
All right. What about you, Precious? Sugar Curls?
For me, mine would have to be, he would have to have a relationship with God. He would have to.
All right. Sugar Curls?
Yes, for me, being evenly yoked is number one. We have to be evenly yoked from a spiritual standpoint, and that flows over into other areas of life, how we raise our children and things of that nature. Another thing for me was definitely he had to have children, because that would be a commonality, and needed to have been married or in a long-term relationship. Those top three were really paramount for me, and they were not something I was willing to negotiate at all.
All right, Ariel.
This is tough. I would have to say similar to what the other lady said, because my faith is paramount. So that would be first. Besides that, it's hard to say for sure, like what I mean, there's the obvious things that I would not accept based off of what I just told you. So I guess like anybody who thinks like stepping out, multiple partners or relationships during a marriage is like out of the question. Yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, Louise.
Yeah, I would say religious and spiritual base. That's got to be a foundation. The next thing I would say, self-awareness. Self-awareness is very big. And then spiritual awareness, self-awareness, and then also, geez, I had it in the top of my head, blanking this morning. Yeah, those are the two that kind of come to mind real quick. Those are very, and a good listener. Good listener. It's very, very important. Listening has to be very, very clear, because unfortunately, sometimes we're talking at each other and not to each other, and people tend to kind of listen to respond and not listen to comprehend. And that's very big, because a lot of conflicts could be avoided because of that. So I would say listening is another big one for me.
All right, Jay, what about you?
Somebody that is living and not surviving.
Living. So you're talking about jumping out of airplanes?
Nah, somebody that's like not surviving. Somebody that's not trying to just get through the week, man. Somebody that's plans to be here 5 years, 10 years, 40 years from now, and that are living that way. Not just trying to make it to Friday and then figure that shit out Friday, and then make it to Tuesday and then figure it out Tuesday. Somebody that's actually got plans to be here later, so that when we get together, we're making that long-term plan. I mean, there's other stuff, but my last particular situation was just a survivor, and I'm a liver.
All right, mine would be common sense, man. I think if you don't have common sense, I just can't deal with it, man, because it's like having another child when you don't have common sense. You got to think for somebody else, and I want them to think, but be able to receive. So because they think, and I don't want them to be able to just, think where they think they need you, right? Or they can't listen to you. But you got to have a balance. You got to have some form of common sense. I don't want to have to keep like I'm looking at my damn daughter or son or something like that talking to you like, what the fuck is, you didn't see that, or you couldn't get that, you couldn't comprehend that, that didn't register to you. I had somebody like that was in college, man. I was dealing with them, and I asked them a specific question. I said this probably months ago. This is probably when like B Nix and Tawana was on the show, but she just irked me, and she was like, you know, you might want to take me home. I said, I was about to take you home. I can't deal with this shit no more. I just can't, because when she couldn't answer that one specific question that I asked her, which I thought most people would get, it just blew my mind. I don't even want to go through and tell a story, but I didn't give a fuck about anything. And then when she called me, I said, look, I ain't gonna say what I told her, but that's one of my non-negotiables. You got to have common sense. You got to be able to think. You never know when I might have to step away for something to do something. I want you to be able to handle all the business that's presented that we've built. I need you to be able to make sure it's still running, still functioning. I may be doing another deal somewhere else, and if you can't handle that, then
common sense isn't as common these days.
Jay, are you tempted to leave at the restaurant, brother?
I left, man. I mean, it was and I could think, man. I mean, the body was nice, man. It was nice, but I just can't deal with it. It's not about the body at that point, because I can't tolerate being around you. You ever talk to somebody and they just questioning every single thing? It's just not registering. It just seems like it's delayed for some reason. And that's what I was experiencing.
What do you mean?
Like if I'm talking, if I'm having a conversation, I'm talking, and she like, wait, what? It's like, what do you mean, what? And I got to repeat myself, and then after I repeat myself, you still trying to figure it out. You still, they're book smart, right? Straight A's and also like that, but common sense. That common sense is very important, because I have to tolerate being around you. You know, there's nothing that's more important than me being able to tolerate being around you. So yeah, dingy is the word. Airhead,
space cadet.
Yeah, space cadet, all above, man.
Bird brain. Oh man, y'all ain't right, man. Hey, Jay, I'm giving props to your shirt today, man. It's a nice looking shirt, big brother. I'm glad we took care of that problem from Thursday.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the actual graphics, man. You're talking about the rap shit. I'm on mute.
No, he's not muted. You're not on mute.
No,
okay, my bad.
No, man, it's one of my shirts, man. I actually changed it up, man. This is for my first clothing line that I did. It's probably about 6 years old.
So you talking about the same shirts that you don't get no grown man size in, that I've been pushing.
You know what, man? The hanger just went on some of them shirts, and I think when I hung them up because they was wet, I think it just formed that way. I don't know, man. I was having a struggle shirt that day.
I liked how you just walked all over what I just asked, the question I just asked you, though, bro.
What you asked me?
We're gonna get the grown man sizes in the shirts, man.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were saying. My bad. It's gonna be coming, man. I'm gonna get back on the merch, man. I got so many ideas. There's so much stuff I'm sitting on. I just ain't released yet. I put together, so I'm gonna go ahead and get back on it, man. Actually, I need an intern, man. I need an intern.
Yeah, you got some good stuff, man. I done definitely tried to Google some of that stuff. I'm like, but those clearly was original, so I wasn't able to find them.
Oh no, man.
But yeah, some of the hats, some of the shirts, I'm like, it's fire. Yeah.
I actually got this fucking denim tee that I created, man, and it was very detailed. I don't have it right in front of me right now, man, but it was a denim tee. So picture your tee, got the pocket and everything. I had the custom Lapeef buttons going down. I either had to try to find like a stretchy denim, because not all denim stretch. You know, sometimes they stretch up and apart. So depending on how you put it all together, it's a little bit complex, man. But I was able to create it, man, and I actually have some. But yeah. So let me go ahead and get to it, man. You know, we got some Z's up in here. Some people don't want to hear about this, but it's a live show, man. I mean, just, you know, whatever. Guys, just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef Sundays. Make sure you get the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Set the notifications to all. Moving on to our last and final topic of the night. Not the night, the day. It's the meat. We know the ladies like the meat.
Ow.
I like that sound effect.
Yeah, I mean,
Ow.
it sounds very feminine, don't it?
Ow.
Yeah, it's like it's doing some things.
It's sassy. I have a little bit of sass in me, so it's sassy.
Is that New Jersey, Precious? Is that what that is?
Jersey. Ew.
I know it, right?
Yeah, it's time to get to the meat of the conversation, which is drum roll, please. I get some drum rolls. I'm gonna get some drum roll effects. That's what I'm gonna do next. The right woman is the right woman is a multiplier. How many guys on the panel right now have heard a woman say that I can add to you? I can get you into places that you ain't never seen before. I can change your life. Any man on the panel ever heard that from a woman?
They've never said it. They just did it. Or I just noticed it in comparison to those who haven't, but they've never verbally said it.
Yeah, those who could do it, man, typically never say it. They just show by actions, not words and lip service.
I'm just curious, like if they said that, why didn't y'all marry them?
I mean, there's always other factors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always other factors, but you identify that somebody is adding to you, you know, by not talking about things. It's kind of just done.
Okay. What about you, Hank? You heard that before?
No, I haven't heard it before, but I enjoy when I see it. When the act is out there, yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. I'm in a process now, so.
Okay, so when you see it, like, what does that look like to you, in your opinion?
When she's putting herself out there, willing to help you do whatever you need to do. So, like, part of my process, my lady right now, she's what I call my research staff, my intern, my mod, and all of that. So she's willing to do the things that I need to do to help me create my platform, help me build my platform. So she's willing on doing on that. She helped me put my spreadsheet together for all my Funko Pops, my albums, and my action figures. So she's doing it by her acts and her actions by doing it, showing me she's willing to do the little things. And that's the small things, but she's willing to do them. So I know once I get myself on the next level, she's going to be right there with me. So I got to bless her.
So would you guys say that a woman will have to show you that? Or are you able to like look at her and what she's doing just in her current life and being able to factor that in and saying, you know, this is the type of woman that will be able to add value to my life?
No, she got to show me. I don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah, I think like Lewis said, those who are about it show you, whereas those who talk about it are usually not about it. You know, like I see it in women I've dealt with. I see it in, you know, my best friends, like their women, you know, them hitting me up on, you know, texting me like, yo, you know, I'm throwing this thing for your boy, you know, can you be here? We got a yacht party. I want you to be there. I don't want to tell him, you know, stuff like that. Like me, men don't, you know, throw surprise parties or surprise their homeboys with stuff like that. But she wanted to provide that for him. You know what I mean? So she hit me up, made everything secretive. You know, I'm on the boat throwing up, you know what I mean? He's surprised. Like that felt good to him. Good women do stuff like that. You know, with me, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I ain't got no big plans. You know, my shorty just say, yo, pack a bag. And then we on the beach somewhere. You know, stuff like that that I don't even know I need. Like, damn, I'm on the, you know, I was stressed from work. Now I'm in the sand, you know, getting fresh air, enjoying the scenery, something that I would have probably never did for myself, but she sensed I needed it and just made it happen.
Okay. Louis, you want to add on to it, man? This is interesting here. The guy speak on it. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know, I had an example before where the person that I was with, they understood me and understood that my work schedule was hectic at times, and sort of what things that they would do is they would prepare certain like meals, or they would um look up certain like weekend events. They were like, oh, there's a gallery showing, or there's an event happening, or whatever. I think like I think you need to kind of step away from what you're doing to kind of gain perspective, right? Because I think you're too zoomed in, and when I work, I typically am too zoomed in, and sort of that's a way that they're very attentive, but also they're self-aware. They're aware of like what's going on, and they're always trying to make me operate in my best version, right? Because sometimes we don't understand that we need these types of things until someone comes into our lives and show us what that looks like, right? That balance and congruency. It's always got to be consistent. And sort of when that person shows up in that particular type of way, you really appreciate them, because it makes you look back through the rearview mirror and understand that a lot of women in your past maybe have not done those things for you. So you learn to appreciate it more because you've never had it.
Hey, ladies, are the men boring y'all? What's going on? I mean, I seen Sugar Curls yarning and.
I'm sorry, I had a long night. Sorry.
Yeah,
no, they're doing fine.
They want the toxic stuff. That's what they want.
No, we don't.
Shit, okay.
No.
I do want to say I would not advise women to do wife things for girlfriend price. I'm sorry. I would not. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be good to her boyfriend. But there are certain things that a woman should withhold until she has a ring. I think that also there's truth in that as well. I think men are trying to evaluate, if a woman could be a good wife. But if you start acting like a wife when you're somebody's boyfriend, you will never get the ring, or the ring will be very much delayed. And nobody wants to be dating somebody for 5 years and wondering when their ring is coming. So we also have to be wise in that, not that you're being stingy or being vindictive to trap a man to get married, but I would not advise any woman to be trying to, have a hand in his business, have a hand in this, help him with this, setting him up for all these things when that's really a wife's role. And until he's showing you that he's like, okay, you're the one, I'm going to step up and marry you, you have to be careful with doing that type of stuff. Because some men, maybe not y'all, but some men will take all of that and you will never see the fruit of all that you put in. So you have to be careful for sure. That's all I was thinking. I wasn't disagreeing. It was just a little caveat.
Yeah.
No, I kind of disagree there a little bit.
Hold on, guys. I want to hear you guys disagree, but I don't really think nobody's speaking on multiplying.
Oh,
I'm talking about the multiplier. Like when I asked Luis, he told me, do you guys really understand what it means when a woman helps you multiply?
I was going to say that the right woman is a multiplier. I totally believe in that statement. When a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. And he not only finds a good thing, he also obtains favor from God, which means that that woman is, in essence, gonna speed up time for him. Because if she has great ideas, if she's able to think for herself, if she's able to tend to things when he's not around, she is going to speed up time for him. He's not going to have to do a lot of things when he has the right woman by his side. Ariel, you said that a wife doesn't do things at girlfriend prices, right? And I think that women, when you know that you're a wife, you're not going to do certain things, but you're still going to walk in who you are. Like if you're a wife, you're a wife. There is no, if I cook, I cook. I'm not going to not cook because you're not my husband. I'm going to cook and I'll bring you a plate because that's just what I do. But I'm not going to continue to do it if you don't see the value in it. See, I think a lot of women have value and they put it somewhere where it's not being appreciated, or that person is just using them. But if you're a wife, you're going to always be a wife. There is no person that's going to turn that off unless you just, get bitter and you're mad about the decisions that you're making as a woman.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I was gonna say was, I hear what you're saying, Ariel, but at the same token, I feel that men have to do a lot more to garner the attention and presence of a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's the time, it's the energy, it's the monetary spending. You know, let's be honest. Like, women out here are not accepting coffee dates in mass. They're not accepting, walks in the park or anything like that. We understand that you have to pay to play. It's just is what it is. And with that being said, why would that said woman, who sees this man pouring into her in different facets, whether it's helping her organize and structure her life, whether he's spending money on her, whether he's taking her out and having these experiences, but also getting to know her as well, why is it against for that woman to show up in a particular type of way to help that man multiply, right? If she does have good business ideas like Precious just mentioned, or she has connections, making those types of introductions and getting you into certain doors or spaces that she has access to because she believes in you and sees the potential in you and this relationship growing and flourishing, then that in itself is a form of investing. We're all investing in one shape or form, whether it's monetary, whether it's with our time. We can't expect things from people, but then not put out the same type of level of vibration that they want from us, right? I think that tends to be kind of selfish because a lot of what I tend to kind of hear a lot is that, oh, he's supposed to do all those things. And it's like, okay, but what are the things that you as a woman are supposed to do to show up in this type of relationship with this man? To kind of cultivate a life, right? Especially if you add value. Value could be almost anything depending on that man or that circumstance. And I think that a lot of people need to understand also too. There are some men who want a flight attendant, and there are some men who want a co-pilot. Ladies, you have to understand which one you are and what seat do you sit in, and how does that look like in that relationship with that said man.
Now, Ariel, did you make this statement because JR said the show was getting Z's and kind of boring and we need to wrap it up? Is that why you made that statement? I know you really don't believe you were saying that because that's how you feel, right?
I heard it too. I heard it too.
Yeah, I think she did that on purpose. You believe that?
Oh my.
So Eric, please, could you give me an example so I can go off of that, please?
I'll tell you my train of thought. My train of thought is that usually when a person gets married, when a woman gets married, honestly, a majority of her value is seen after the marriage because she becomes a mother. Ideally, right? She becomes a mom. She's in the house. She's taking care of the house. Well, these are my views coming from the Christian perspective. Ideally, we don't live together before we get married. We're not really supposed to be having sex before we get married. We're not supposed to be having children before we get married. Like, that's the perfect scenario in the Christian sense. So what I'm saying is if you are coming from a religious background, it's not going to be possible for you to display your wifelyhood or your womanhood to the degree that you would as a wife. So once you're a wife, then he can see how you behave with, your own children, how you raise your children, how you take care of a home. Like, there's little things you can do as a girlfriend. Yes, you can help him clean a little bit. You can, bring his meal to him. But really, you're not going to be the same as if you were married. And that's what I was saying. It's like, you don't want to be a wife before you have the ring, because if you're giving him sex, you're giving him food, you're cleaning his house, You're picking up his kids. If he has kids, you're picking up his kids, dropping his kids off. You have his hand in his business. You're doing all these things. It's like, what is the difference between that and a wife? And I think that's when women have to be careful, because typically you will not get a ring if you're doing all those things before you get married.
Well, the difference is the expectations. As a woman, you have to set the expectations. Again, now I understand what you're saying, because if you don't put it out there, let the man know that you're a woman who's looking to be married, and so you got to have your standards, right? It's part of them standards we talk about. And if your standards is 2 years, 2 years from the day you ask for us to say you're my lady, and 2 years from now you expect to be married, then you need to hold to them standards, and you need to remind your man of them standards that you have. And as long as you do that, and if he's a man of any moral any good high standards, he's going to honor and respect your standards, and he's going to appease and do what you ask them to do. But if you don't hold a man, look, we've seen ladies where they'd be dating a man for 4 years, and they say, well, when are we going to get married? Man, you didn't set the expectations from the giddy up. Now all of a sudden you want to flip the game plan? We 4 years in. I'm not even thinking about that. That's not fair to him, because now you hold to him different expectations that you should have had from the beginning. So if you had that from the beginning, more than likely it's not going to happen. Now, unfortunately, a lot of ladies expect us to do husband type duties. Pay for everything, take care of you, make sure you're good in every area. But then you don't want the woman to act like a wife and do wifely duties? No, I need to see. I don't want to hear talk about it, because I'm not going to think you're going to turn it on and off like a light switch. All of a sudden, you're going to go into wife mode as soon as we get married. No, I need to see it beforehand. I need to see how you move. I want to know how you clean. Like I said, I got a key to your place. I'm going to do a drive-by. How you living when I'm not around? When I'm not there, do you also clean up because I'm on my way over after I get off of work? No. I want to see how it is when you don't expect me. So I want to know all those things. That's a must. And so if that's part of the wifely duties you talk about, yeah, I got to see it. I got to have it. I'm not going for no less. No
Hold on,
man
y'all.
shit.
Hold on, y'all. We're going to play this clip real quick, and then we go ahead and finish the discussion.
Nothing that a man I love couldn't put in my hands, and I multiply it. Nothing. I don't care if he worked at Burger King. By the time we get finished, he gonna own a chain of them. There is nothing a man I love couldn't put in my hands, and I can't multiply it. So let me put that right here.
All right, just a little bit of context. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad that the video was played. Like, this conversation has been good. I'm glad that the video was played, but I have a question for everybody, even the people in the chat. Are we currently, because that sounds good, because are we currently raising, grooming, educating, and preparing young women to do those things? Because we hear, a woman is a multiplier, right? But the right woman is the multiplier. But I have to challenge and ask the question: are we raising, grooming, preparing women to be in the position to do those things today?
No.
If I got a group of 100 random women, what percentage of those women are that woman right there that spoke like that?
And here's the thing: I just want to say this is I don't completely agree with the way she put that either, because it's like this concept like he gives you $1 and I turn it into $2. What multiplying is to me is he gives me $1 and I make that dollar stretch as far as that dollar can stretch. That's also what that should mean. Like, not every woman is going to be this woman who's like, oh, she's going to invest in your business and she's going to know how to do what you do in your day-to-day life. But it's when you put the money in her hand, you can trust her not to be foolish with it. I think that's more of the training and the teaching that women need, because we can be very frivolous. We like nice things instead of understanding, like, let's scale it back. Let's go back to a little bit more traditional values. Let's own less, buy less, because I'm putting stress on my spouse by wanting to live lavish all of the time. So I get what she's saying, but it's like, realistically, like, most people don't have money like that to be even talking about, like, I don't know, like, it just gave me this idea, like she was talking about, like, oh, I'm going to be this investor. Like, not everybody is that.
Well,
Yeah,
but see,
she's
that's the
speaking.
thing about it too. It's utilizing the vehicles out there that are easily disposable to you to set these things up in order to make money, in order to garner assets, in order to create other streams of income that open up more time and more possibilities for you. I don't buy the thing that we don't have money. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, that's very true. A lot of us don't come from, silver spoons or generational wealth. A lot of us are starting generational wealth now for the first time. And sort of that's the part that I ask, what vehicles are you tapping into in order to create these things? Because I don't accept this concept of broke. Broke is bad retention of knowledge and education. And a lot of people are not tapping into those types of vehicles or resources in order to get out of those circumstances that they're currently in. So that to me is a mindset and a lack of preparation and a lack of focus, right?
Go ahead, Sugar Girl. So, Precious. Anybody?
I was gonna say, I agree with Luis. Like, what are we doing to teach the next generation how to become like women? We're supposed to be industrial, so we're supposed to be able to know how to do things like sew and grow our own, fruits and vegetables and things like that. So if it ever came down to it, that we could do those things. We're not, relying on Gucci and whoever else to stitch together some clothes for us so we can have clothes and look like we have money, but in real life don't have a skill or don't have something that's going to help us move forward. Like Ariel says, women, we're the highest in consume um shopping. We shop like, there's women who emotionally shop, but that's not what's needed for the family. So, we have to be able to teach women how to cook, how to sew, how to plant vegetables and fruits and things of that nature, so that you can add to the household in that way, and not always necessarily in a monetary way.
So to the point, the right woman is a multiplier. What I was thinking is typically the man would be in a position where he's grounded, he has his foundation, he's set, he's good. So when his woman that he chooses come along in his life, she multiplies, or she is an asset, not a liability. And so that would mean that in every aspect of what he has set up, because she ultimately comes into his program, she is not bringing it down. She's adding value to what he's already established. And then, sure, she has ideas. She's like a CEO, so to speak. She has ideas. He trusts her judgment. As Precious said, she has certain skill sets that he sees and he trusts. But there are times where he may have to override that. He may see that, oh, wait a minute, your decision is not going to multiply us. This is going to like bring us even or down. So he may override that. And then to the points that were discussed earlier with regard to women and should we be raising them a certain way, unfortunately, there is a serious problem in our society. Young girls are not being raised this way. And this is a sign of the times. Any of us who are spiritual and biblical, we know we're going to see this. The family breakdown is going to get worse. So we do have to make sure that in our own circles and our own family units, we're doing our part and what we can contribute and encourage others who are willing to listen. Can there be young girls who are teenagers or in their 20s that can be, quote unquote, have a new personality, so to speak? If they have a willing and open heart, and from a spiritual standpoint, they can be helped to get a better mindset, if you will. But women should always be an asset.
I think people are being taught how to or raised to mitigate loss. From what I see, like to the culture that you were currently speaking of, I think people are being taught how little can I give while gaining the world. You know, how much can I get? I mean, you look at it, I'm sure everybody's seen a meme with they keeping count. It's a scoreboard. City boys up this, city girls up this. You know, you look at social media, whenever something happens, like it's a scoreboard. Oh, this man got half his assets taken away. Oh, this woman gained this in a divorce. You know, they're keeping score. So it's almost becoming like, how little can I give while not? So I don't think currently that anybody's being raised that way. I mean, I'm hopeful, you know, especially in my immediate circle, I see that that is going on, but outside of my immediate circle, the internet, as far as what's being taught, I don't see it that way.
I know. Welcome back, Ariel. That's all I'm gonna say. Welcome back. It's been a long time, and I'm glad to see you back and you're doing well. But again, as far as sharing with the ladies not to do those things, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea, because, like you said, in 2023, men, you just need to just assume these women can't do half the things a wife should be able to do. Just go on and put that in your mind and move like that, because they can't. They don't want to do it. I mean, you know, they look at their mothers as like some of these women are disgusted by their mothers because they serving their dads, their fathers, their husbands. Why would you do that? He can do it himself. That's disgusting. When I hear those type of conversations, man, you know, there's one or two things: lack of a man, lack of respect for men, and the lack of the appreciation, the sacrifice that your mom's going through to maintain her relationship. And so a lot of these ladies really, I don't think they really want to get married. I think they want to go through the process. They like the idea. They want to be able to share it. They don't want to put the work in. They don't want to be able to put that work in, because it's a challenge every day. Because you're going to have different peaks and valleys and mountains and hills you're going to have to go through. Are you willing to put that work in? And if you can't show me that during the relationship, during the courting date, yeah, that's a problem. If we can't even get through a tough conversation right now, what's going to happen when we're married? And the out's a lot harder. You can't just walk away as easy as you do in a relationship. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there.
I'm gonna tell you though, Hank, inflation is happening. And if it continues to happen the way it's happening, it is almost going to be impossible for you to be by yourself, financially unsustainable, you know, unless grandmom left you a fortune or dad left you a fortune, whatever the case may be. The average person is gonna have to consider all the bullshit that they've been spewing online, you know. And I do think there's a difference, you know what I mean? I think that there's online YouTube was being pushed, and then I think there's reality. I think people are different, you know. Like YouTube is a small percentage of how people think, you know. These are small niches and pockets, but in reality, out in the real world, the way the inflation is happening, people are gonna start throwing a lot of that bullshit out the window that they've been spewing. You know, men ain't this, men ain't that. It's like, yo, this rent is $3,700 a month. What we talking about? Is he really that bad? Is she really that bad? All right, well, shut up and make this work, you know.
Yeah, and I think, Jay, them 3 pages of requirements for a man will go down to 1 page in about 2 or 3 more years.
Does he breathe? Can he cook? Can he walk? Can he
Does
talk?
he have a steady income? Not based on being locked up in them streets. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Ariel, how you been?
I've been good. Life has been good. How have you been?
I've been good. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to join the fraternity and the sorority you in. The marriage fraternity and the sorority.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, that's my goal. That's my end goal.
It's fun. Join the club.
I know, that's right.
All right, I do want to drop I got Laura in the background. Laura, can you give me a thumbs up? I know you're driving. It's kind of sketchy. Give me a thumbs up in the back. I got one person I'm gonna bring up, but then I get to the super chats. We get up out of here. All right, I'll go and start reading super chats until you get a signal. Marcus Evans $5 says, "Hello, everyone. Long time no see." Ariel. The writer Jack KIO $10 says, "Surprise heads up, start a new channel, not this channel, to review discussions sparked by past SCs that I've sent to awesome YouTube shows. Love your work. Here's my support. Thank you." Salute to you, sir. Kelly Connections 499 says, "I believe all women are multipliers. Gentlemen, what are you giving her to multiply? By the way, support the network. Big things to come." Salute to my woman out there. Check Auto LLC 999 also member says, "Question for JR. Question to JR. If parents don't teach their sons and daughters sacrifice in marriage, how can they be a good help to their future husband or wife?" Anybody want to answer that?
They can't.
Yeah, they can't. If they don't see it's done, if you don't see it being practiced, then you're gonna be out the game. I mean, if you can go to get, the premarital counseling or someone who has been married who can counsel you. But at the same time, if you don't see it modeled and you're not in that practice to see the seed sacrifices, then you're not going to necessarily understand how it all comes together.
And
that's why the divorce rate is so high. Is because people have gotten into marriage unprepared. They have no idea what they're getting into. They get past the altar and they're shocked that, oh, this is what this is. So we have to start preparing the younger people for what marriage is really like. Be honest, don't be grim about it, but be real. Like, it's going to be hard. And you have to fight through those hard times.
And I know, like, one of the most important I talk to my son about is how to communicate. I say, if you can do that, you can handle a lot of situations that come up in your relationship as long as you know how to communicate in a proper way to communicate. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't call for you to fly off the handle. It doesn't call for you to just go shut down. That's not communication, brother. And I teach my son that on a regular basis. I said, what's going to happen when you get in a relationship? And I don't say marriage with him. I use words like this. That's way too far advanced for him. He's 17. He's nowhere near thinking about marriage, right? But I said, as far as in a relationship, how do you communicate is key, man. Is very key. So we definitely need to teach our sons and our daughters this on how to communicate and how to communicate with each other, not just with other men, but with the opposite sex. Because some people just don't know how to do that. They just, I've been in a relationship where you act like you want me to talk to you like you're your girlfriend. Baby, I don't want to talk all the time. But when it calls for me to talk, I have no problem with that. But don't expect to get a lot of conversation out of me like that. It's just not how I'm built. Some men are. I'm not that guy.
I see. And real quick, it's good that you're having those conversations with your son, Hank, because with our generation, we've kind of had the best of both worlds. I'm 80. I was born in 81, so I've seen the world literally change completely, like far past what I could have imagined it would be. But these kids, like your son's age, they've literally grown up on the internet. You have some kids that all they know is the internet. They don't know, seeing that girl in your class and having a crush on her, or seeing that girl at the park, or social settings. Everything has been scrolling Instagram and seeing, oh, well, I like her. I'm going to hit the like button. I'm going to hit the like button again. I'm going to hit the, no actual interaction, face to face. That's all they know, which it poses a threat. So it's going to take a person like you with your son and other men, to do that and to show them, yo, we got to get out here. We got to get you out in the world, man. This internet is one thing, but it's a whole nother world out here.
Yeah, man, that right there. Like, we've become so much more connected worldwide But unfortunately, our communication and interaction with another has gone down significantly. I mean, just stop and think about how a lot of these kids in school today can communicate with each other and communicate with their parents and society overall, right? It's really taken a hit. A lot of kids are too much inside and they're not outside. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up that I didn't get a chance to bring up before was conflict resolution. Man, I didn't get an opportunity to add that and bring that up. Conflict resolution always is presented to you, especially when we were growing up, because we've always dealt with handling problems or handling conversations or issues with friends and in personal relationships, right? But today that looks so much different, right? And to the point that we've gotten now that cyberbullying is a thing. Like, I don't really believe in cyberbullying, man, because I feel you have the power and the autonomy to shut it off, deactivate, block, restrict, or walk away. All the power and tools are in your hand, but sometimes we've created this sort of victimhood that you have no autonomy and you have no ability to kind of conflict resolute what an issue is and how to best go about it. The prescribed method is always that it's somebody else's problem. We need to kind of look a little bit closer to the mirror and realize that we have full control of that.
All right, let me go ahead and get to last couple of super chats. Marcus Evans, $5 says, to answer Louis' question, I believe 2 to 5% of women are multipliers. Marquise Keys, $5 also member, says, I was recently on a date with someone who said she has passed on many of good men because they weren't the right men. For some reason, she didn't know why. You guys know why? No.
She's waiting on the Lord. That's okay. She's waiting on the Lord.
No, she's not fully happy with herself.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought she was waiting on the Lord. Press my back.
Or I would say that she has a vision in her mind of what her spouse is supposed to be, and she can't let that go.
Yeah.
So she's passing on good men.
Let me tell you what it is. It's probably the pastor. She wants man.
Sometimes that happens. Yeah.
A lot of people out here actually think that they're better than the people that they actually qualify for. That's the part right there.
Facts.
We had this entire conversation this afternoon about relationships and what that looks like, and equally yoke and blah, 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 blah. But realistically, people actually sometimes feel that they're better than the people that they actually qualify for because they had this little experience with someone else, and sort of now they're on cloud 9. And and sometimes people need to come down and get a dose of reality, because people are passing on people who they actually are better suited and better paired with for the long haul.
All right. You haven't dropped the link. Now we're about to ready to go ahead and end it. I King Caller. About to ready to go ahead and close this off. We've been on a little bit longer than anticipated. Just want to say thanks to the panel for dedicating your time today. It's been much needed. Y'all make sure y'all check out Sugar Curl Salon. Products also in Walmart, and she also has an individual website. A lot of people on the panels have used it. I still currently have some that I use. I still have some vitamins as well. It's a whole little vibe over there, man. So y'all make sure y'all go ahead and support Sugar Curls. The Real Precious goes live throughout the week, has a YouTube channel. So y'all make sure that y'all support her as well. Luis is an awesome designer. Y'all make sure y'all go to IG and check out his work. And for all you big spenders, y'all have earners, y'all have value men, y'all make sure y'all go ahead and hire him for your next project. Hink in the Basement. Hink the Basement, not in the basement. Hink the Basement. He has a YouTube channel, so y'all make sure y'all support. Ariel, I don't know if you lost it, but she may dunk on you. She played up in the WNBA, so a lot of you folks may not know. She has the killer moves. If y'all thought y'all seen Iverson with that quick step.
Stop.
Okay.
I am a stay-at-home mom.
I mean, now you are. I mean, but you never know. If money talks, somebody may say, "Man, I play you for that. I play you for that band," and you might say, "What's to it?" Jay's Story to Tell. Y'all make sure y'all check him out on YouTube as well. Jay's Story to Tell. It's right there in front of you. Everybody that's watched, that was in the chat and not in the chat, everybody that has donated, that constantly watch us, hold us down, all my Green Gang members, salute to you, and want to say special thanks for all the support you guys have given us. If you haven't supported, just hit the like button. That's all that we ask for, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we out, y'all. That's it. Make sure y'all enjoy yourselves on this Sunday. Y'all be safe out there. All right.
Peace.
All right, y'all. What's going on, Matt G? It's the last track. Last track. Say thank you guys for your support. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for your support. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy y'all Sunday evening. This was the Lapeef Sunday Lapeef Network show. Another great show. If you missed it, catch the replay. I want to thank all the panel members that came in. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and support each other. Shout out to all my Green Gang that's in the chat. Matt G, I see you. Another